Hi, this is Mr. Jackson. I'm here to do another lesson about Vincent van Gogh for the second and third graders. I attached another video to this lesson about Vincent van Gogh and the sunflowers that he's famous for painting. So here's that poster that I showed you from last week. This is Vincent van Gogh. He did many self-portraits, pictures of himself. Last week's lesson was about this painting that he did called The Starry Night, which is probably his most famous painting. And these are a few examples. This is one example of sunflowers that he's famous for painting. And I'm going to use this realistic example as kind of the inspiration for the drawing I'm going to do today. So you could make it look more realistic from observation, or you could make yours more abstract and make it from imagination. So I'll show you what my ideas are, and hopefully that will be inspiring to you in making your art. So you can use any paper you would like. I am preferring to use a darker paper, gray, blue, purple, but really any paper will work. I'm going to use a Sharpie marker so it's easier for you to see. You could draw it out with pencil, you could use crayon, you could use marker, whatever you have available to you. I made these just to make this a little bit easier. If you want your parents to help you make one, this is just a circle. It's about 2.5 inches wide. And then this is just one flower petal. It's about 3.5 inches long. So if you want to do that, you can, or just make it up as you go. So you could put it in the middle, you could put it over to the side, it doesn't really matter, but put a circle on your paper kind of closer to the top. And I'm going to just draw this out. If I make a mistake with my marker, I'll end up covering it up with my oil pastel. But once I have one circle on here, I cut this as a curve so it kind of lines up on the circle here. But I'm just going to trace out a few petals, and I'm just going to have them overlap. So instead of putting it here, I'm just going to have them overlap, and instead of starting down here, I'm going to start where that previous line is. But you can just make it up as you go, and I'll draw a couple without this petal in case you don't want to do this. It's kind of looks like a sun as I'm making the rays around here. But you can also draw it without one of those petals too. So whatever you prefer, and I'm just trying to make it nice and big. Some of them will go right off the page. And this last one, I'm gonna tuck one more in here, about right here. And then I'm gonna start on this line instead of overlapping it, and I'm gonna stop when I get to that line where I started. Then once you have your sunflower started, I'm gonna make a stem, and I might make a couple of leaves. I've had students say these look kind of like oval shapes or teardrop shapes, or I could even make it like maybe more like a heart shape. So you can decide what you think is going to be best. Now once you draw it out, then I'm going to, you could use marker, or you could use marker, crayon. I'm going to use these oil pastels again, the ones that we use in the art room, and there's a lot of choices. I've already separated them over here in value from darkest to lightest. Since they're already lined up, it's just gonna make this example go a little bit faster. But for the center of the sunflower, I'm just gonna trace this edge, and then I'm gonna use kind of a zigzag line, and I'm gonna go from dark to light. Work my way around here, kind of like that zigzag line we used for the grass and the Starry Night. Then I'm gonna do kind of this golden brown. This is gonna give it a little bit of a three-dimensional look by making it go from dark on the edges and then lighter towards the center. This is even kind of a yellow color. So it's going from brown to kind of a golden brown to tan to yellow. And I'm gonna end with a little bit of white in the center. Okay. Now I'm gonna move over to this one that I already drew a little bit of so that this can go a little bit faster. Once you draw the center of the flower, it doesn't have to be a sunflower. It could be a different type of flower and be a different color. But I'm gonna do these, and this goes pretty fast if I use just like a zigzag line. And I do maybe 3 or 4 of these at a time. And then go from that kind of that red-orange color to orange. To kind of a yellow-orange. And I'm just overlapping them a little bit as I go. To yellow. A little light yellow. And then if you have extra space, you can just repeat the colors. I'm gonna add white to mine too. The white. And then we'll just go back to where I started, okay? So let's just pretend that I did the rest of the sunflower. On the stem or the leaves, I went with this dark green. I'm gonna go to a medium green. Then I'm gonna do a lime green. And then this sea green color. And just repeat those colors, kind of the same thing here. I could do the opposite and go with a sea green. And then do it in the reverse order too, to a lime green. And then get to my darker greens. One other thing that I like to do, you don't have to do this, but I did a black outline on here. I started down here and I traced around it just to give it kind of a shadow and separate it from the background. And I would do that all the way around the whole thing. I don't want to use black until I'm done because black will smear into my yellow and my white, so I'd want to make sure all the other color is done. And then I might even blend it just a little bit with my finger. Now let's move over to this one. This one has more done on it. Once you have your whole sunflower done, you don't have to do a blue background. You can pick really whatever color, but since this is warmer colors, I'm picking cooler colors for my background. I started down here and I used these blues. And I started with my midnight blue and I went from dark to light. So we'll kind of go up into my pattern here. I did this midnight blue and I went all the way across. And then I'm just using that zigzag line, going dark to light. I'm gonna go around it until I get all the way to that other side and to this lighter blue. I'll go over here. And then I've got this sea green is also a sea blue that works. Now, let's move over to this one. This is what it looks like to have the whole thing done. And then I added a couple of extra details. I took these lines that you couldn't really see and I added some brown back to those lines. I put some broken lines in here with the darkest red-orange color and some white, because Vincent Van Gogh is very famous for using some broken lines to show motion and some energy into his work. This is another one that I did that's, instead of blue, it has purple. So I just went from the, let's see, I went from pink to magenta to purple to a dark purple in the background. But you can really pick whatever colors you want. So I hope you have fun making this. If you don't have oil pastels, try crayon, you could try paint, you could try marker, but the main thing is just kind of going dark to light with color and having fun creating your art. So I hope you enjoy this lesson, and I'll look forward to seeing you later.